Hello everyone, we are back at it again. Today we'll be doing this paper from 2021, May-June. Okay, but the code for this paper is slightly special because if I'm not mistaken, this is a replacement paper because in certain country, due to the COVID effect, the exam was postponed. So this is the paper that replaces the actual examination. So without further ado, let's get started with our paper here. So Fred is a gardener. Every week he worked for 8 hours for Dr. Shah, 8 hours for Mrs. Tarek, and the rest of his time for Mr. Hubert. Fred worked a total of 20 hours every week. Mr. Hubert paid him 37 each week. Okay, so your keyword here was to figure out how much hour did he work for Mr. Hubert. That is by taking 20 hours minus 8 and 8, which results in 4. So the actual hourly rate for him will be by taking 37 divided by 4. Then you should be able to get the results. So the answer for this is 9.25. Okay, so this is for our part A, number 1. Dr. Shah pays him 6 each hour. Mr. Tarek paid him 24 for the first 3 hours and 3 for each further hours. Show that Fred's total pay is 124 each week. So for Dr. Shah, it's fixed. So that will be by taking 8 times 6. Okay. And then for Mr. Hubert, it is fixed at 37. And then for the last one, Mrs. Tarek, okay, she worked for 8 hours, right? So for the first 3 hours, it is 24, which means the balance of the 5 hours is 3. So through this, let's double check the results. So 8 times 6 plus 37 plus 24 plus 5 times 3. So the results of this is 120. Okay, so part 3, Fred is saving this money to buy a mower costing 800. Calculate the numbers of weeks Fred must work before he can buy the mower. So 800 divided by 124. So you get about 6.45 weeks, which you must round it up into 7 weeks. Will be your final answer here. Fred uses compost in each of the gardens in a ratio of 4, 5, 4 and 6. Use a total 345 liters. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is to find out the total ratio here. That is by taking our 5 plus 4 plus 6, and you get it as 15. So 345 liters. Okay, for Mr. Umbret, that will be 6 over 15. So 345 times 6 over 15, you will get the results as 138. So lastly, we have our next question here. Fred buys 2 different boxes of grass seed. One box seed has a mass of 350 gram and the other one has 240. Both corrected to the nearest 10 gram. Okay, they wanted you to find the difference. So to get the upper bound, your larger value must be bigger the smaller value must be lesser so that the difference is the highest in this circumstance. So to find the rounding value, we have to take the 10 gram, divide it by 2, and you have to decide whether to plus and minus 5 into each of the situation. So the bigger box here is actually 350. That one I have to add by 5 so that I have the highest value there. Then to find the difference, I have to take the smaller number, which is 240, minus it by 5. So the difference here will be 120. Moving on to question 2, they were asking for our angle MCB. So to get to the results of this question here, we'll be using our sine rule, okay, where I have sine 104 compared to its opposite, the side length is 31, against our sine MCB here, then you have 15 on the other side. So to find the angle MCB, we'll be taking 15 multiplied with sine 104, divided with 31, and then kindly take note, to get to the answers immediately, you will have to do sine inverse here. So that will get the results by having this. Okay, make sure everything is in degree form. Sine inverse 15 times sine 104 divided by 31. So we get the answers as 28.00171111555, which is approximately 28 after correcting it to 3 significant figures. Okay, as for the other value, our AM here, first thing to take note was that AC itself is a straight line. So that would make it 180 degree. So 180 degree minus 104, you will get it as 76 degree here. And with this, we are able to use our cosine rule to find AM's value. So I just put a square root. I try to have 18 square plus 15 square minus 2 times 18, 15, and cos 76. So let's key into your calculator. So you get your final answer as 20.45390369529, which is approximately 20.5 after rounding it to 3 significant figures. Moving on to part C, they were asking us for the triangle area of MAC, which is the entire thing basically. So for this, okay, I will split it in 2 parts, which the first one involved half times 18 times 15 times sine 76. As for the other one will be our half times 15 times BC times sine 104. If you notice, I put BC there because we are yet to discover the value of BC here. So now that we have this angle as 28, we can backtrack and get this info here first. So to get to that results, 180 minus 104 minus 28, you get your results as 48. So this 48 here, okay, we can now key in sine 48 over unknown, which is our BC that we are looking for, and we use 104 over 31 for this. So to get to BC's results, we have 31 times sine 48 divided by sine 104. Which the results is about 23.745 0.4275075725. So through this calculation, you get it as 23.74. Okay, I took this result is because I wanted to avoid premature roundings. So replace the value in, you will get your final answer as this. So let's double check. Okay, so we get it as 303.75, which is approximately 304. Okay, alternatively, you can straight away just use this 48, 15, and 31 and run your half AB sin C calculation. Okay, I didn't notice it. I just saw it after I completed everything. So it's up to you which, how are you going to calculate the area for MBC? Okay, both is acceptable. Moving on, we have question 3 here that they were asking for the midpoint of AB. So according to the formula, just put them up and divide it by 2. Okay, you should be able to get the answer without any issue. The answer should be 3 and -2 respectively. Okay. Moving on, they were looking for the length of AB. So this one is quite straightforward. Okay, so up to you how you want to do it. There's no right or wrong here. So let's double check our results. After you square it, add it back with 4 plus 8 square. So you get your answer as 14.4. Okay. Moving on to part 3, the equation of a line that is perpendicular to AB. So the things here was perpendicular. So kindly take note the formula that we are using is m1 times m2 equals to -1. So the m1 here are referring to the gradient. So it's by taking -8 y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So through this calculation, you will get it as which is -3/2. So m2 will be -1 divided with -3/2. The final answer would be 2/3 here. So we have y equals to 2/3x plus c. Put in the 4 and 9. We get your final answer as -2. So your ultimate results, 2/3x minus 2 will be your final answer. Lastly, we have a point P here has the vector of S and point Q has a position vector of T. PQ is extended to point X such that, okay, so we must have our point P and Q here first, but then we don't have it. OP is S, OQ is T. So PX to QX is 7 to 3. Okay, this is what they meant. So for example, Q is here and X will be somewhere around here. They told us that the entire thing was 7. The gap here was 3. Okay, so to find the position of X, firstly we need to know what is our P to Q first. Okay, so to find PQ, we'll be taking PO plus OQ. So that will make it a -S plus T Okay, so with this, kindly take note, it is actually 4 out of 7 of the entire thing. PQ is actually 4 out of 7 of PX. So let's find PX. Negative X plus Q, A plus T equals to 4 over 7 PX. To find PX, it will be by taking 7 over 4 negative S plus T equals to PX. Lastly, they were looking for OX value. So to get to that, we have to take OP plus PX, which we have it as S plus 7 over 4 plus T. So through a calculation, you will get 3 over negative 3 over 4 S plus 7 over 4T. So this will be my final answer. Okay, so kindly take note. How I get the 4 is by taking 7 minus 3, okay, for this part. Then the other thing to be careful about was that I use it like a ratio here, where our PQ is actually 4 over 7 of the entire PX. So since they are having a multiplication relationship, when I shift it to the back, it will become 7 over 4. So this question here is quite tricky, but if you were to dissect it solely, you should be able to get the hang of it. Okay. Moving on to the next question. We have our function question here where we have to key in everything that we have there. So for this, we get it as 0.5. What if it's a negative 0.2? We get it as 4.9. And when it is a positive, you get it as negative 4.9. Okay, basically they are reflecting each other's results. Okay, now that all the plotting is done, let's get started with our drawings. Okay, so this is how it would roughly looks like if you were to sketch it out. So we are done with the drawings now. Okay, so use your graph to solve this when it is negative 3.5. So let's check when it is y equals to negative 3.5. How much would it be? Negative 3.5 is here. Okay, that would make it 1, 2, about 2.5. So x is 2.5. Okay, then moving on to the next question. On the grid, draw the line 5x plus 3y equals to 0. So for this, to make your life easier, you can arrange it into the format that you are familiar with. Get rid of the 3, you will have this results. So as per usual, you need at least 2 points to draw it out. So the first one, I will actually make our x as 3. Then you will have the value for your y as -5. And other than that, if I were to put it as, when I put 0, I get 0. So with these 2 points, it should be more than enough for us to draw it out. So 0, 0, 3, and -5. 0, 0. But then we don't have 3 because x doesn't extend all the way until 3. Which means we are being forced to use some smaller value. So when x is 1, our result should be -5/3. 1 is here, -6, 7, maybe it's somewhere around here. So let's plot this point up. We should get the results as, okay, let me try to join it properly. Okay, let's zoom in and double check. Somewhere around there. Very good. So they intersected around this part. And also here, I suppose. So to find the respective answer, here was your -0.5. Go through another 4 box. That will make it -0.7 and 0.7 here. So the answer for this will be 0.7 and -0.7 will be my answer. So make y the subject for this, we already did it. It is -5/3x. Then use your answer in part 2, the solution of kx squared equals to 6. Use this to find out what's the answer. Okay, they say in D number 2, let's try to solve it. We use our 5/3x equals to our x/2 minus 1/x. If let's say I were to try to make the denominator the same, this is the answers that I gotten. I would have this at the moment. And then when I cross multiply them, I will have -5x multiplied with 2x equals to 3x squared minus 6. So from here, let's complete our calculation. We have -10x squared equals to 3x squared minus 6. So let's get rid of the 6 and make this 10x squared plus 3x squared. Total, you have 13x squared equals to 6. So our k, when you run the comparison, it will becomes 13. So that's how I get our answer here. Okay, so far until question 5, all this is the standard topic that has been coming out in your older papers. So far I didn't see any new topics yet. So let's continue with our paper here. Find the acceleration during the first 8 seconds. So for this, it's basically finding the gradients only. We have 0, 0, and also 8 and 5. So y2 minus y1, your acceleration should be meters second square. So our speed over time, then you'll be able to get your answer. So for this, we will have 5/8. That will be our acceleration for the first 8 seconds, which is about 0.625. Total distance traveled here, that is basically our trapezium formula. So the top here is actually by taking 50 minus 8. The bottom is 54 entirely, and the height of this trapezium is just 5. So top plus bottom, so we have 42 plus 54 divided by 2 multiplied by the height, and you get your answers as 240. So that's how you solve your part 5 number 2 here. Moving on, speed time graph shows around same route for the park. Okay. Find the value of v. Okay, so kindly take note, because they are referring to the same route, okay, for school to the park. So the distance traveled will be the same. So we have 240 here. As for this area, okay, as you can see, the bottom is just 45. The top here is 40 minus 5, and the height is basically v. So we have our 35 plus 45 divided by 2 and multiplied with v. So 35 plus 45 divide by 2, you get 40. So 40v equals to 240. V will be 240 divided by 40, that will be 6. That's how you find a b's value here. Moving on to question 6. In I-Town, the numbers of people without computer is decreasing exponentially at a rate of 18%. So the keyword here is decreasing exponentially. So it's a compound formula, but for the percentage part, you have to minus it out from 100. So in 11 years time, initially they have 25,000. After 11 years, so we have 100% at minus 18%. So through this, you should be able to get your answer. You will get it as 2,817.68. Okay, so the numbers of person is approximately, if you will round it to 3 significant figures, it will be 2820. So find out how many complete years it takes for it to be fewer than 1,000 people without a computer. So the same thing is that the rest of the results doesn't change, just that we have 82% to the numbers of years equals to 1,000. So from that, let's trace it out. 82% to the power of n. They wanted fewer. It would be easier if we put it this way. So from here, we'll be using logarithm. So log with the base of 82%, 1,000, 225,000, and then n. So log with 82%. And then we have 1,000 over 25,000. So we must have n more than 16.22 years, so which is about 17 years long, to make it lesser than 1,000 people. Johan and Ketya each buy a computer. Okay, Johan pays 469 euros and Ketya pays 538. So they gave us the calculate the difference to the nearest cent. Okay. So you have to compare first. If it's a euro, for every 0.9046 euro, so 469 divided by 0.9046. So you get the results as 518.4611983197. Okay, that is by taking our 469 divided by 0.9046. Okay, and then they wanted difference, so you take 538 minus the answer. Okay, you will get it as 19.5388016803. They wanted the results to be in the nearest cent, so it will make it 19.54. Okay, that will be my final answer for this part B. And then moving on to part C. In the sales, the price of another computer reduced by 16% to... So this 273 is after discount. Okay, so 100% minus 16%. You get it as 84%. So original price times 84%. So RE equals to 273 divided by 84%. Okay, so from this you will get it as 325 as the price before sales. Okay, question 7. We have 800 employees now. Okay, they want us to calculate the mean. So to get that, we need the midpoint first. 1 plus 0 divided by 2, that will be 0.5. 1 plus 3 divided by 2 is 2. 4. 8 plus 5 will make it 13. 13 divided by 2 is 7. 6.5. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So to get the mean, you will have to take 0.5 times 75. Add it up with 2 times 130. 4 times 166. 6.5 times 291. Plus 9 times 138. The entire thing divided by total of 800 employers, then you will get your answers. So the mean is about 5.1187. So if you were to round it to 3 significant figures, that would make it 5.12. Okay. So as you can see, the next part here, they were asking for frequency density. So for the first one, if you were to take and double check, so frequency was 75. Frequency divided by class interval, you will get the results of 75. As for the next one, 130 divided by 3 minus 1. That will make it 65. So let's double check. Are they the same? Here is 75, here is 65. So there's no scale factor involvement. So all you have to do is basically key in the rest of the results, then you'll be able to get the answers. So for the next group that we have there, it's supposed to be 166 divided by 5 minus 3. 166 divided by 2, basically. You have 83 here. Then 291 divided by 8 minus 5. You will get it as 97. And then lastly 138 divided by 2. You will get it as 69. So let's plot it out. Make sure it must be accurate. First one is 83. 83 is somewhere around here. Okay, each box is worth 2. So 83 is here. This point. Okay, and then they wanted it to be 3 to 5. 3 to 5, 5 is somewhere here. Okay, make sure it's half of it. And you'll be able to get the results. Then the next one is 97. So 97 is 8 to 5. 8 to 5. So somewhere around here, I suppose. 2, 5. So the line will be at least this long. And then they wanted 7, which means it exceeded 3 boxes at least. Okay, then our one last part will be until 69 for the group of 10. So 69 is before 70. So that will be it for our frequency density diagram. Moving on to part B, they were asking for the median. So kindly take note, cumulative frequency, there's 60 of them. Half of it is 30. So from 30, you trace it back, you'll be able to get the results. Okay, so apparently it's pointing at our 4 here. So the money sign, I should put 4. As for interquartile range, you have to take 60 times 75%. The value of it minuses off when 60 times 25%. So you will get 60 times 75%. That will be 45. Somewhere around here. And for 25%, that will be 15. So when I take 5.6 minus 2.2, 2.4, sorry. So we should be taking 5.6 minus 2.4. So answer should be 3.2. 5.6 minus 2.4. So how many people spend more than $7? So from 7, you trace it all the way up. Then backtrack it on the other side. So you actually get 54 packs, I think, if you were to trace it up. So out of 60%, how many more of them? There will be 60 minus 54, which is 6 as my final answer here. So they want you to fill up the diagram. If it's 0 to 1, that would be 5%. 1 to 3. So the next thing that they wanted you to do is quite weird here. So from 1, you know there's 5%. All you have to do is to check when it's 3 then. When it's 3, how many percent were there? When it's exactly 3, we have 21 thing. So you can take 21 minus 5 and you will get your answer. That will be 16. So let's check the next number here, which is our 6. So when it's 6%, let's trace it up. That will make it 48. Okay, so 48 minus 21, you will get your answer as 27 of them. Then check from number 8. We have 56, 57 of them. 57 minus 48, you have 9. And then the last one will be 3%. That's how you find the results here. Okay, so 2% who is chosen at random spend more than $1. So spend more than $1. We have a denominator of 16 plus 27 plus 9 plus 3. Okay, just excluded 5 from them. So basically the denominator here will actually be 55. And they wanted those who spend more than 6, which is our 9 plus 3. The keyword here is 2% was selected. So because it is surrounding a human being, we must decrease the denominator after the first draw. 9 plus 3 was supposed to be 12. After the first draw, there's only 11 of them left. So 9 plus 3 divided with 55 times 11 over 54. So your final answer is actually 2 over 45 as our final answer. So we have about 3 more questions to go through. Okay, so let's have a look at the next question here. ABC is an equilateral triangle. The sides of the triangles are tangent to the circles. Okay, so this will tell us that if we were to join these lines together, okay, like joining this P, O and P point, O and N point, our O and M point, all this will actually form a 90 degree. Okay, that's the keyword that they were trying to hint us. So write down OMA is a right angle. Okay, so for this part 1 is very obvious. Okay, it's because of the tangent information that they gave us. Angle between radius and tangent will form right angle. Okay, this one just write it down will do. Identify the results of OAM. OAM. So things to take note was that if you were to split a 360 into 3 parts, there will be 120 respectively. And then OAM here is actually half of this results that we have, which means if we were to look at a triangle, we have 90, we have 60 here. The remaining will be 30 for sure. There's no calculation needed for this. Okay. Moving on, they were looking for AM's value. So we have A, we have M, we have O, we have our 5 cm radius. So if I were to use our 60 degree as the subject, this will be its opposite, this will be its adjacent. So tangent 60 equals to AM over 5. AM would be 5 times tangent 60. So the final answer for this will be 5 square root 3. Or it is approximately 8.66 if you were to round it to 3 significant figures. So they wanted the shaded part of the area. So now that we have our 5 square root 3 and our 5 cm, because it's a right angle triangle, okay, we can calculate the area by taking half times 5 times 5 square root 3, and there happens to be 2 of them. Okay, this will be the bigger one, and then minus off the sector of 120 degrees. So 120 over 360 times pi times 5 squared. So 25 square root 3 minus 1 over 3 times pi times 25. Okay, you will get your answer as about 17.12, or should I say 17.1, somewhere around there. Okay, that's how we calculate the part C here. Perimeter of the shaded part. Okay, because we already know it's 5 square root 3 plus 5 square root 3. Okay, all we have to calculate will be this, here to here. That will be 120 over 360 times 2 times pi times 5 cm, which is the radius of it. Okay, that will be 27.8. Moving on to question 9. Okay, write down angle that is equals to AXD. AX and D. That will be our angle BXC because it is vertically opposite. Okay, as for DAX, however, which they were referring to this, and then they wanted who else is the same as it, it will be X, B, and C. The reason behind is because it is angle from the same segment. Okay, complete the statement. Triangle BXC is similar. Okay, and then moving on, we have our next question here. AX is 1.6 cm. So just draw it out for easier to see. So fill it in. We have 1.6, 4.6, and 2.4. They're asking here, so 1.6 over 4.6 equals to 2.4 over XC. So XC's results will be by taking 4.6 times 2.4 divided by 1.6. We will get 6.9 as the final answer for this. Quite straightforward. Moving on, we have BXC is square root 7.2. Okay, because they were given us area. Okay, I will try to avoid that by putting a square root to it. Area AXD over 1.6 because I'm comparing the same sides. So AXD value will be by taking square root 7.2 times 1.6 divided with 2.4, and then remember to square it. Okay, 3.2 will be your final answer. As for part B, okay, find the height of the larger content. Because they gave us volume this time around, okay, you must put cube instead of square like just now, because the previous one was areas only. So cube root of 448, let's run the calculation. So we get your answers as 16. Moving on to the last part, we have this question 10 here. Okay, similar question actually came out back then, but I'm not sure whether they're assessing on the same thing or not because I haven't read through the question. So let's have a look at what they want here. In the summer, water channel is 3 cm deep and the flow rate is 4 cm. Show that 518 400 flow in 1 hour. 3 cm times 12, okay, that will be the area, times 4, and then an hour, that is 60 minutes, and in each minute that is 60 seconds. So 60 times 60, that will make it 3,600. So let's multiply these things together. You will get it as 518,400 centimeters cube. In winter, the water channel is 5 cm deep with a flow rate of 18 centimeters per second. Find the percentage of increase from summer. So we have 5 times 12 times 18 times 3,600. This is the winter rate minus the original, which is 518,400 divided by 518,400 times 100%. So you will get your B as 650%. The storage tank is a vertical cylinder with a radius of R, okay, increased by 4 millimeters. Okay, 4 millimeters is 0.4 centimeters. And then, so through this calculation here, we should be able to get the results. This is in centimeters, and if you were to change it into meters like what they wanted, you will get your results as 6.42284681,815. You get 6.42 as your final answer. Lastly, we have question 11. Okay. So for this question, they said that there's 3 stationary points. So you have to find your dy dx first to get it done. We will have 1 over 4 times 4 x cubed. Because we transfer the power out, the power will now decrease by 1. As for 3 times 3, x squared. Then 9 times 2, x. So you have x cubed minus 9x squared plus 18x as your answer. So from here, key in your calculator the cubic type. A, it will be 1. B will be negative 9. C will be 18. And then lastly, your D will be 0. So through this, you will get 3 points. The first one is when x is 0. The next one is when x is 3. And then the last one will be when x is 6. So let's run your calculation. When x is 0, y will be 0. When x is 3, y will be 1 over 4, 3 to the power 4, minus 3, 3 cubed, plus 9, 3 squared. Okay, here we get 20.25 here. And then when your x is 6, you will get it as 0. So this is how I find the 3 turning points here. Determine which is a maximum and minimum. So for me, I will find my d2y dx2 here. Okay, which is our second differentiation. I get 3x squared minus 18x plus 18. So when my x is 0, my d2y dx2 will also be 0. So write the conclusion at the end. Okay, let's do for the next one first. When x is 3, how much is your d2y dx2? 3 times 3 square minus 18 times 3 plus 18. So you get negative 9 for this, and when x is 6, you get 18. So the conclusion was that this d2y dx2 is lesser than 0, hence it is maximum. As for the other two, d2y dx2 is more than 0, hence it is minimum. And I did a mistake here. Your d2y dx2 should be 18. So your d2y dx2 here should be more than 0. Hence, it is minimum. Okay, that's how I get the results here. So the easiest way I personally think will be calculating your d2y dx2, because from that, when you sub in the results, then you get the respective answers that you're looking for here. So okay, that's pretty much it for this paper. I personally find question 11 slightly troublesome, and then this one with logarithm, some students might struggle with it. The rest is, and also this vector question here, okay, which is also quite good. So that's pretty much it. The rest of the paper is pretty standard, okay, compared to your past year. So if I were you, I will focus on learning how to solve our question 3b, our question 3b, question 6, number 2 from your section A, and also the logarithm question that I mentioned, and lastly the one assessing you on differentiation. So that's all for this paper. If you have friends that are struggling, feel free to share this to them, and I wish you all the best in your upcoming examination. Okay, bye bye.